So this was the sound test. Now we really start. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our session of Perception is Reality. So in the next 20 minutes, we're going to talk about how AI can help to improve video quality and save cost at the same time. I'm here with Thijs Bijleveld from IMAX, because when you talk about quality, one company does come to mind, and that's IMAX. Because with everything they've done in the past more than 50 years, they're obsessed with quality in any of the experiences they do. Thijs, welcome. Great to be here with you.
Thank you so much.
So we could do quality measure with a gazillion of indicators, and in your previous company, one of the analytics companies, you had probably 10, 20, 50, 100. But you argue that the only one that really counts is how the viewers perceive quality, hence the title. Before we jump in, maybe a few words about yourself and IMAX to set the scene.
Yeah, thanks, Andy, and thanks everyone for joining. IMAX, like you said, we are crazy about video quality. It actually, goes back to the inception of the company in 1967. Actually, the philosophy, behind starting IMAX was all about, the proof that they saw back then in the market. If you increase basically image, if you increase video quality, it actually, has a direct effect on engagement. Speeding that forward, one of the other points that was paramount in IMAX was the realization that if you want to talk about quality, right, and where the whole industry initially in cinema took quality to an 80% level because that was good enough to monetize, IMAX wanted to push that additional 20%. The key in achieving that was to take the human brain as a starting point. So it's literally the perception of quality that was leading, right? Not measuring pixels or resolution or whatever. It was all about understanding how does the human brain actually perceive quality. And that was important because IMAX was working with a lot of the Hollywood producers, and they care about quality, but not so much, let's say the resolution, but also about preserving creative content, intent, make sure that basically whatever the producer was looking for to push in that film was captured. So we have one metric, yeah. Not 20 or 200.
Maybe we need to put in context that it's what's written here, IMAX streaming and consumer technology. You're not the guys building the huge cinema walls. This is not a session about cinema. If you wanted to learn about cinema, sorry guys, wrong session. It's about streaming.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So tell me about IMAX streaming and consumer technology.
Yeah, that's a bit more recent. Let's say 6 years ago, the company actually start to think about how can we actually expand what IMAX is doing in cinema into the home. And we need to deal with a couple of things. So what do you need in order to bring, the IMAX immersive video experience into the home? It was actually two things. On the one hand side, right, we needed to understand quality. We needed to have a metric. And the other thing is we needed to have streaming solutions to basically bring that content into the home in a more efficient way. And let me elaborate in 2 words on that. So the metric is actually exactly the same as what we are using in the cinema. It's basically an algorithm that maps the human viewer map into basically a software-driven, AI-driven metric that you can apply to measure perceptual quality on any asset, live stream or VOD asset. So that's one of the things how IMAX thinks that we can support broadcasters and streamers to bring a more immersive video experience into the home. Now, there's a ton of other things we're doing. We also been introducing IMAX Enhanced. So that's a way to work with consumer electronic vendors to bring a more, let's say, enhanced audio and video experience into the home. But streaming consumer technology actually helps broadcasters and streamers to increase quality. But we've also have some interesting ideas on how you can do it without increasing bitrate or even, maintain quality but strongly reduce bitrate. Because, yeah, I think one of the things is if you talk about perceptual quality, you need to know what you need to put into a video signal. But for us, more important was also to understand what not needs to be in a video signal.
Yeah, so I mean, it's not that you have an interface here to see what my eyes see and what I perceive. So how was it done in the old days to measure quality, because IMAX has been doing that, and how are you doing it now? And you even have a viewer score.
Yeah.
But let's talk about that. How did you measure quality in the past, and where comes AI now?
Actually, it seems to be like a big difference, but it's not. So back in the days, you had basically panels, right? The best way to measure quality is to just put a panel in front of video assets, and if the panel is big enough, you get a pretty accurate, feedback on quality. Only thing is, right? If that starts to scale out, good luck. That doesn't work. So how we do it now is, again, we talked about a metric. So the metric we use is the IMAX viewer score. That's basically the algorithm that I earlier talked about. That basically represents how the human brain actually perceives quality. So that score is actually a score that we use to measure basically any piece of video. That could be file-based, so it could be video on demand, but it can also be live content. So you get a score, and that score actually represents how the human brain is actually perceiving that quality.
So you start from the other side. You don't
Excellent.
talk about bits and pixel
No.
and latency. You come from the other side.
Absolutely, and I think that at the end, what we all try to achieve, right, wherever we are in the industries, is you want to bring a product to basically the consumer that's good, but at the end of the day, you want to do more than good. You want to also understand, right? If I have a churn problem, if I'm looking for additional revenue headroom, what do I need to do in terms of quality increase that kind of hits basically that human brain point that says tick the box. Yes, I perceive that as higher quality. So yes, I'm willing to pay more money. I'm willing, right, to stay. I'm not churning off to somebody else. So that's definitely what we're doing. But what we also have been doing is kind of use that same IMAX viewer score, that metric, to also say, okay, if you have a score like, for example, 80, right? We also need to understand what is basically in that video file that is not attributing to to that quality level. How the human brain works is basically the perception of quality is not a continuous line. It's a line that basically makes certain steps up. So that means that if you measure quality, there's always, let's say, that margin, and we call it the sort of a non-detectable perceptual difference, where you can actually start cutting bits out without the human brain actually, registering that bits that are taken out, or that bit rate reduction.
So we could say it's a bold statement, and IMAX has understood how the human brain works, and you have come up with a score.
Yep.
Why should you trust that score, and who uses it?
It's a good point. Why should you trust the score? Well, I think that for me, the customers that we work for probably speak the most language, right? We work already since years for Disney, DAZN, but also customers like Comcast and Sky, etc., are basically using the score. So I think that starts with basically the Hollywood studios that use our score, that trust our score. It's actually even going one step back. It's not the studios, but actually the film producers that are actually just filming the movie and try to capture that quality and that creative intent. That's the starting point. So we are trusted by the content producers, by the studios, by basically the streamers. So that's a recognition.
You got even some Emmy awards.
Yeah, we got 2. Yeah, so basically on the viewer score. So we acquired a company a little 2 years ago called SimWave, and SimWave was actually the core technology that enabled us to really scale out that viewer score using AI, because one point that you said earlier, how did we measure, quality in the past? That was with panels. How do we do it now?
When you say panel, you mean just viewers in a cinema room?
Yeah, human beings, exactly. So how do we do it now? Is we basically use the metric. It's an AI-based platform that supports the IMAX viewer score, but we use basically AI to create basically an unlimited number of golden eyes, basically watching that piece of video on your behalf.
What is a golden eye? It sounds like James Bond.
Yeah, no, a golden eye is since basically the IMAX viewer score represents the perceptual quality, how the human brain sees video. If you basically put that into an AI-driven software platform, you get basically an unlimited audience of humans, artificial humans, obviously, that are watching that video on your behalf and that give that quality feedback on your behalf.
Okay. Let's take a step back. Why does all this matter? Because, of course, in streaming, it's really ugly now because you need to make money. Growing alone is not good enough, and that's the ugly word, profitability. Yeah, that's why we see price hikes, and we see FAST and AVOD and everything. But the viewers want more. They want better. How can you control the cost on the one side and give more quality? And that's how we... Yeah. That's where we get to now.
Yeah, it seemed to be like a problem that was unsolvable, right? Because if we started to tune down on bitrate, without looking in the quality, you would definitely take a big risk, right, of creating a quality impact for the end consumer. So what we basically did is we basically acknowledged, like, all right, so on the one hand side, we need a reliable way, right, to score that perceptual quality. And on the other hand side, we need to have a technology which is then able to kind of say, all right, how many bits, right, can we take out of that video signal without basically jeopardizing that video quality? Mm-hmm. So what I'm trying to say is many, industry partners are trying to solve the problem by just looking at bitrate. And I think that's just too one-dimensional, right? Because we all know that quality has a direct impact on revenue. It has a direct impact on churn. So how we see it is it's basically connected. So if you basically benchmark quality, and if you clean up the signal, so to speak, if you take the bits out that are not relevant, then as step 3, you can end up with basically a business decision. What do you want to do with that efficiency? Right, you can basically use that efficiency to reduce your CDN bill, right? Or even in a satellite context, right? You can use that file size reduction to simply put more channels on your satellite transponder. Or you could actually say, you know what? I have a bunch of premium channels that I want to set out. I would like to simply trade off that efficiency, by really increasing increasing the perceptual quality and basically not cashing in on a reduction on CDN costs. So that's the business decisioning as a third and last step that we added. So you need to connect quality and bits in order to come up with a strategy that at least maintains quality and saves cost, mm-hmm. or actually keeps the cost at current level but enables you to increase quality. So you need to connect the two.
You have mentioned some big names that you work with. So how much reduction in bit rate can you achieve while keeping the quality the same?
Yeah, we're going straight for the money. Well, I like that.
That's what you want to hear, right?
Exactly. So in average, if you apply this approach, it's realistic that you have at least 15, and more generally between 15 and 20% bit rate reduction. So Disney is one example. We work for Disney Plus a couple of years. They basically apply this technology. It's called Stream Smart on basically all the Disney Plus video streams that are being streamed out. And they are in this bandwidth. They are just. It's I can't mention number, I'm not allowed, but it's in the tens of millions of dollars of reduction of CDN costs that they're able to achieve, and either reinvest in creating some premium channels, or they simply reinvest it for speeding up their roadmap on other subjects.
Okay. So what does it take? Let's say I'm a streamer, I'm interested to keep the quality and reduce the cost. What do I need to do? Is this rocket science? Is it quick to deploy? How does it work?
Yeah, that's a good point, right? Because I think more and more we have the CFO watching over our shoulder, right? So any story that would say, you know what, let's throw, all my encoders out of the window and let's try and do something different. That's probably not going to fly. So the way we looked at it is we thought it was key to come up with a solution that you can simply run on top of whatever existing workflow for VOD or live that you have in place. So literally, it's an orchestration layer. Puts an API in place where you simply get your file directly from the encoder. We do our magic, so we score. We then optimize, and we then basically pass on that optimized video file further down stream in your workflow. Yeah, so it's agnostic, basically, to whatever you have in terms of encoding solution.
So in terms of deployment time, how much do you need?
Yeah, it depends a bit, right? Some of our customers really have very complex workflows, but if I would need to give like a general indication, you would be realistically up and running in basically 8 to 10 weeks, and it could be more complicated if you have much more differentiated distribution networks. If you cover satellite, IPTV, OTT, and many different workflows, yeah, that might be a little bit longer. But no, we're talking weeks to maybe a few months, but definitely not longer than that.
I mean, the great thing is you don't have to rip apart your existing workflow.
Absolutely, yeah.
Makes a lot of sense. Would it work for live streaming as well?
Yeah. That's definitely where we're all striving for. The answer is yes. The answer is yes. Some of the complexity, of course, the workflow is a little bit different, right? So in video on demand, we basically take 2 additional encodes at lower bit rates. We then benchmark that against the quality metric, so the IMAX viewer score. And that's how we decide per segment, right? What's the lowest bitrate segment that we can pass on? In a live workflow, it's done differently. In a live workflow, we need to do manifest manipulation, but that doesn't touch your encoder level. But we have now being able to bring it back to a 1 second latency, so it adds processing time, right, in your live workflow. But what we also discovered, since that 15 to 25% file size reduction happens also in the live workflow, you'll make up for that 1 second of additional processing time further down your workflow. So yes, there is a latency impact because there is processing time, but you end up with a positive impact on latency at the end of your workflow.
So that's the beginning, not the end. It's 15 to 20, 25%. With advances in AI and machine learning, where do you think it will go?
Yeah, it depends.
Or do we hit already the thing of what's technically possible?
Look, I think that if you would ask our engineers about the quality score, about our dynamic optimization technology 1 year ago, and if you ask them now, they would say it's already a complete different world we're looking at, right? So that's the honest question, or the honest answer to your question. Do I know where it ends? I have no clue. Of course, we'll further innovate. At this point in time, right, over a 2 years time frame, that 15 to 25% efficiency is consistent. So I'm pretty confident that we can keep it on that level. Regardless, let's say, the introduction of new codecs or streaming formats, etc., it has been consistent also over not only all the different, let's say, encoding solutions, but also on the codecs resolutions that everyone was changing. So yeah, I'm pretty confident that we can keep this level, and we will work for sure to further improve it. Absolutely.
Very good. So we have time for questions. Anybody has a question here? Or Thijs?
Yeah, maybe, sorry, Andy, maybe one cool thing to add. So what we have up and running in our booth to kind of prove the live work, or let's say the live workflow case that you were asking about. We have a screen with a hairline that actually shows the NAB live work stream, where we actually have applied our StreamStart technology. So you'll see a sort of a live counter where you can actually see what bitrate reduction is being achieved. So it's an AWS stream that we took directly into our booth, and where we have the ability to in real time actually show what efficiencies are achieved.
Just show it here on the floor.
No, it's yeah. If you walk over to the booth, it's just across the other hall. That's where you can literally see a live stream. It's running basically throughout the whole day, and there's a counter in the corner that actually says this is the percentage of bitrate that you're saving.
Okay. So if people want to come,
Absolutely, yeah. You're more than welcome. There's a bunch of engineers that know a lot more on the tech side. So if you guys want to go deep, then by all means.
Great. So if there's no questions, yes, there is a question. Please, loud. We don't have a microphone, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Would it also work for low latency, was the question.
And the answer is
Thijs.
absolutely yes, because it actually works basically on any resolution in any streaming format. Because we simply run it as an overlay. We're not touching your encoder level, so we don't even interfere in whatever, let's say, resolution or streaming format you put in place.
Other questions? Answered? Yep. Is there any other question?
So does the panels go in completely with AI, or does AI sort of emulate what the panels used to do, or do you keep them in parallel and kind of keep them on?
Yeah,
Well, let me just repeat the question. So
Sorry, yeah.
Do the panels go away, or are they completely replaced by AI now?
AI kill the panels.
So it's an interesting question, right? And I said I'm going to answer that question not so much from a streaming technology perspective, but more how we work as IMAX. So what you will see is, basically from the point on, we put an IMAX camera in a film set, and basically the video mastering, the audio mastering is taking place. There will be panels in place, right? And the smallest definition of a panel is for example, the video director. There will be panels throughout the workflow, but if you would see it in a streaming consumer context, yeah, it will be AI because the scale is too big, and what we just said as well. If you apply it in a live context, there's simply no way you can work with a panel, right, to kind of benchmark that quality. So. Panels are hugely important to kind of see whether you are able to maintain basically the creative intent of the filmmaker. So on that side, I would say 100% yes. But when we talk about streamers and big scale VOD and live streaming operations, yeah, I'm afraid that AI is probably the only way to apply quality measurement and optimization at scale. No, you still need to tell whatever technology you're applying can be self-learning to some extent, but I would say the way we apply AI is predominantly to handle scale and to handle real time, if that makes sense.
Okay. Any other questions? No. If not, then thank you, Thijs.
Thank you so much
For the talk.
It's fun.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you.